latest family edition. Shar-Pei puppies. The girl and the boy. Very reluctant, but fussy as well. Adorable little things. Very clean too. They learn to pee in the garden very quickly. Seem to be intelligent, unlike their master. Right, enough. Now, yeah. Just a follow-up video for the camel tank. Works brilliantly. Range has gone up slightly, thanks to my abusive right hand. If you're installing this kit, put one of these filters on that allows air to go both ways, because in traffic or you fill up with cold fuel from the ground, it will expand a lot. So the pressure has to go somewhere. It goes in here. If this one is only allowing air in, this thing will start bulging. Drawback on it, obviously, the smell of fuel will come from your bike. What are we going to need? A suitable container to catch the piss, coolant. Coolant itself, a torque wrench, various little tools, safety gear, well, gloves basically, and some rags, because the stuff goes everywhere. Before we begin, let's touch upon coolant. This is coolant you can buy the local supermarket. Costs you about 30 Rand, which is roughly $1.20. Now, this I wouldn't trust because it doesn't even state, this is concentrate by the way, it doesn't state use distilled water. It just add water, tap water. No. It's green. I've got no idea. I assume it is glycol. Yeah, fill coolant with clean water. Please specify. Water that comes out of me is also clean. So no, wouldn't recommend it. KTM manual says coolant needs to go down to -40 at least and must be of the ethylene glycol. No, it's propylene glycol. My tongue tied today. Well, alright, so I bought this Cool Elf -37 ethylene glycol solution. According to the manual, the KTM uses 1.8 liters in its cooling cycle, so these are 2 liters, should be enough. Hopefully. Why am I doing this? I didn't like the color of the coolant. It was a green-blue color and there were little black flakes floating inside. Now, the recent service, I asked them to drain the coolant. Maybe their coolant drain, I don't know, loosened something, maybe some debris. They also checked the valve clearances. I don't know if the gasket material is maybe present. Either which way, I feel better if we're just going to drain and flush this thing personally and tighten everything in accordance. So, ta-da! Procedure, relatively straightforward. You gotta loosen this bolt and then she'll piss all over you. And on the radiator side, you gotta loosen this here and then that's that. And then of course I plan to take the reservoir apart, give it a good clean, make sure the hoses are in good condition, not crunchy or anything, reroute, fasten, etc. And make sure there are no cracks because, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know why, but everything is made out of plastic, including radiator caps these days. Personally, I don't trust that. You don't see a 30-year-old car with plastic radiator caps or plastic radiators, huh? But again, we live in a plastic society. So, which means you got to take some more care, and it also translates that modern day mechanics will never die out because the shit will break faster than you can make it. Let's get started. Ladies and gentlemen, like the necrophiliac who caught syphilis, I have made a grave mistake. It is not 1.8 liters, it's actually 2.4 liters of cooling fluid. Sorry. Oh, that's the most difficult part done. As always, the tank, the fairings, and all that. Okay, let's have a look here. Last time I checked this, there was a lot of black stuff floating upon it. Not as bad, and I cleaned this cap as well, because that was blacked up, so it's relatively clean. So we may be lucky all this crap has been, Well, hopefully removed, regardless. Okay, now, as per the manual, you may notice that when the tank is on, you have no idea to see if there's any air bubbles in the system. So, what you have to do, well, what I have to do now, we're going to drain the tank there and on the other side underneath the radiator. Once that is done, I'm going to take this thing off, see how much residue is in here, clean it, and then we're slowly going to fill everything. You have to raise this wheel up about 50 centimeters off the ground. I have nowhere to put the bike or how to secure it, so what we're going to do, I'm going to get a car jack stand and we're going to lift it up as best as possible to about 40-50 centimeters, at which point we start filling, we start bleeding, filling and putting everything back together, and hopefully that works. If you're doing this, remember ethylene glycol is poisonous. Dogs and kids, you can give it to them at Halloween, but not during the year. So keep that in mind and don't dispose of it down the drain because it really does nothing for the taste. Alright, girl, let's see if your blood is indeed orange, like they keep telling us. Okay, not the right color, relatively clear, very few contaminants. So while that is draining, we're going to take the hose from the radiator overflow here. It's routed through this little metallic clip and then goes over the radiator to the overflow bottle. Overflow bottle is held in place by these two screws. The bottom one partially obscured, but you just twist that back. That's all good. The hose is clipped here. Just remove that. I'll leave the radiator cap on because I'm going to give this a thorough cleaning now. This in stages, gentlemen. So I'm going to take all of this liquid and put it in this little Coke, 2-liter Coke bottle. I use it as a container for easier disposal. I've learned in the past, if you're going to make a mess, make a small mess, not a big mess. So let's keep the fluid to a minimum. So after giving the mouth of the radiator a quick rim job, phrasing, this is what was left on top. It's got the consistency of soot, basically. It might be gasket material, it might be corrosion. You tell me. Okay, perfectly clean. So you can see there's still a little bit of gunk in there, which we're going to use a Q-tip to get out of. My main concern was the pressure release valve. That had a lot of gunk. Luckily it was easy to flush out. While you're here, gentlemen, inspect the cap for any cracks, leaks, etc. This is plastic. You may want to apply a bit of red rubber grease around that O-ring or the seal, just to make sure it doesn't break. There's a little bit of lubrication. Once that is done, flush this out. You can use tap water, just make sure you let it dry and give it a quick flush as well. Maybe a cap full of antifreeze, slosh it around and then take it out. There's going to be a lot of vibrations here, so thread locker please. And now for the messiest part. Gotta loosen this one. So, buckets here, just cut one of these Coke bottles up, and hopefully that will prevent the mess. I live in hope. Great success, jak je masz. And now for the more interesting part. As we fill, we have to loosen this screw here. It's the same on the other side, just think mirror direction. And this is basically the bleeder valve for the cylinder, so no air gets stuck up here. The trick is, we fill until fluid leaks out easily through here, then we close it up and proceed to fill the rest of the radiator. Remember, ethylene glycol is corrosive, so have a spray bottle with water on it, so you don't damage the paintwork much. Replace the crush washer with a shiny new one. Give the whole area a quick dousing of water with a bit of soap. Make sure everything runs down there, so no corrosion. Now you may have noticed there's the drain. You still have residue in here, so gotta open that, drain that, and then we're 100. Before I forget, any bolts that are on the engine bay should be torqued down to 10 Newton meters. Yeah, getting to that bolt is a pain in the ass, make no mistake. Once it's out, this is it. There's a little O-ring inspected for damage. And as you can see, the bolt has got a hole in it, possibly passed through. There was a bit of that black gunk in it, so let's give that a squirt and a clean. It'll be all right. Right, next, let's start filling. Got to open the bleeder hole screw here, and then let's see how this program. Don't get me started about this backyard mechanic mess. The bike had to get up, so put it on a hill, jacked up the front even more. Should be roughly between 48 to 51 centimeters off. Those bolts up here are a pain in the ass, but if you got a small wrench like this little one, you can get there, loosen them, no problems. So now we just got to fill everything to capacity, put the bleeder screw from that side of the radiator back on, fill the spare reservoir, reroute everything, and then the main fun of putting everything back, including the tank, starts again. Yeah. Last bit of advice, when you filled it up like this, close. Look, it's bleeding through, close that, and lean the bike on the one side, lean it on the other, lean it to the other, and back again. Then put it on the center stand and open that up. If it looks like that, here, open that screw. It'll actually go down, and mine took another 100 milliliters. Little tip on the side. Right, that's full. We're going to close all of this up, fill the spare reservoir, and get to the hard work. I know I've mentioned this before. This is a design flaw with the KTM. The tank rubs against this cooling hose. Mine's only lasted so much, or so far, because I put a bit of duct tape just over it with another stronger, thicker piece of plastic tape underneath. Basically stops the rubbing from happening. Also, while we're doing this, check the state of your radiator fins and the fans. Any damages, they should be addressed now. These fans are pretty universal. I think the 950 uses them as well. Mix and match. Other than that, I decided to keep the hose routed the same way. You know what? If you're stuck somewhere, this is actually a meter length of hose you can just cut off here and use in an emergency. So might as well leave it on. Maybe the strange KTM engineers thought of it that way. No, they didn't. Green Coke. I think the cooling fluid change was necessary. What do you think? And there we have it. That was the coolant change for an 1190R. How long did it take? Just half a day, to be quite honest. Why so long? Entertain kids, entertain wife, you know, the usual. Now, you're probably asking yourself, that seemed like a lot of work. I usually watch your channel because I'm a lazy sod and I'm looking for the easy way out. Well, that pretty much was the easy way. If you have the right tools, it'll go a lot faster, but that's the easiest way to change the coolant. The biggest obstacle is, again, the plastics and the tank. Other than that, open that, let drain, let fall out, open that, open those two bolts, drain, 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 fill up new. You could go overboard and get distilled water, fill that up, put the tank back on, let the engine run a couple of times, rinse, repeat. To a certain degree. Look, the radiator image I took, it's spotless inside. And the soot stuff, I don't know. Look, could it be engine gases escaping? But if that were to happen, that would mean the water would leak into the oil, which would turn it into toothpaste almost, a whitish residue. And I changed the oil today as well, and it was perfect. There was no water residue anywhere. Plus coolant, the last time I lost coolant was in Swaziland when it tipped over so many times. So the system seems to be in perfect condition. That's not saying the coolant that was in there was of pristine condition. That, I've never seen a color like that. Maybe a cheaper coolant was put in, it reacted maybe with the existing one, or they didn't drain it properly. I have no idea. But I will sleep better knowing that everything has been changed, it's been cleaned out, and should be running. Again, I'm saying a silent prayer here because I didn't have a chance to take it for a ride. I just started it up for 10 minutes and there were no leaks. Well, I live as an optimist, it seems. Right, anything else I should... Oh yeah, of course. Why should you do this? Look, according to the manual, coolant should be changed every 2 years. Regardless. It's just a maintenance thing. If you put extreme long life coolant in, some of the coolant nowadays with its HOTS or hybrid organic technology means it can last inside an engine for over 5 years. Okay, so if you don't have to, or you inspect the radiator cap and the fluid still looks good, you can even have it tested by someone who's got enough money for that sort of equipment to spare you the pain and throw. But generally, gentlemen, if you service your own motorcycle, do it at 30,000, and just makes you feel better. If you are keeping the bike longer, for that matter. I know everybody's waiting for the 790 to come out. Everybody's selling their 1190s, their 1090s. We want the new stuff. But that's to you. I don't see me getting rid of this. The 790 next year, if it fits me, sure, I'll place an order, but I'll have to wait at least 8 months to sort out the crap before I get it. You know, early adopter syndrome. So that's it from me. That was that. What else is there left to say? Coolant smells like baking pretzels. Till next time. Bye.